Hi, guys, and welcome to our Premier League 2023-2024 mid-season review. And yes, from Luke, Callum, and James, we want to wish you all a happy new year because this is the first video of the year of my channel. And yes, what a great way to kick it off with the boys with our mid-season review for the Premier League season. So yes, how are we all doing, lads?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad.
Okay, great. Well, yes. So, as any regular viewers will know from our mid-season video, we're just going to talk about how we think the season's gone so far. We'll talk about obviously how we think our teams are doing. We will also talk about top four, bottom three. I will put video stamps in the description if you want to get to your club. If you don't want to watch the whole video, just get to your club. Fair enough. But if you don't want to watch the whole video, get some popcorn. So yes, right then. So as always, we will start with Brighton and Hove Albion. So James, yes, 20
Yes.
games, 20 games in, and Brighton are currently seventh on 31 points. So take it away.
Yes. It's been an interesting season because people are saying we're not doing well, but we're seventh and we've got 8 wins, 7 draws, only 5 defeats. We've at one point I think we were the highest scorers in the league. 30 goals scored, obviously quite a lot conceded. But we've not been too bad. And obviously that comes with a Europa League run, where we group of death, group of easy pie. So we topped that group, absolutely smashed it, and it's just been, to be fair, it's just been a solid season. Our first season in Europe. Brought in a lot of signings, and to be fair, we had a lot of injuries, and to be like, to have like Fatty's out, March is out, Matoma, Adingra, Igor, Webster. So many of our players are out injured, but yeah, we beat Tottenham 4-2. We should have beaten West Ham last night and stuff. We're still getting results. Um, and it's just been fantastic. I think our top scorer so far has been João Pedro. He's been absolutely fantastic. He's top scorer in Europa League. 6 goals out of 6 games. A lot of them penalties, obviously, but goal to goal. I'll take it. Evan Ferguson with 6 goals, a Dinger with 4. You got Pascal Gross with 6 assists, Matoma with 4 assists, the Superman 3 assists. So there's a lot of great players coming in, and most of these players have been with us like for a good, for at least 1, 2, or more seasons and stuff. Obviously Dinger's come in this season and absolutely smashed it. This is his second season, has been quality. Matoma's second season. Gross has been here for years, and to be honest, I think Gross, I've got my notes here, Gross is our like the glue in this team. I think without him we would be a lot worse. Like, you've got obviously Lewis Dunk is captain, fantastic, solid at the back, but without Gross, who can play centre mid, right back, left back, on the wing, he'll play as a cam, as a centre mid, as CDM, he'll play so many roles and stuff. He just fits into the squad and just does a job. You need players like that who will just do a job. Yeah, Milner's another player like that who did at Liverpool, doing us now and stuff. You've got players who just fit into those roles and just won't complain, get on with it, put a shift in, and it's shown results. And yeah, I mean, I looked in the Premier League app, and apparently we had the most passes in the league with 12,623, which is evident of De Zerbi's tactics to play around the back and to create triangles and kind of play them 1, 2, 3 and try and get around players, try and draw people into the press, and then out we go and off we go. We had the most goals scored in a calendar year by teenagers with 19, which is more than the whole league combined. Again, just shows how I think we also give the most minutes to teenagers as well this season, or the last 2023, which again shows how confident we are in our young players. One I want to really shout out is Jack Hinshelwood. So he joined us at age 7. His dad used to play for Brighton. Martin is now manager at a team called Worthing. He is the first player who's come for our entire academy, 7, 8, 9, onwards, 21, 22, 23s, and is now in our first team squad. He's the first player to make it to our first team. Again, like Gross, he's a CDM by trade, and he played right back. He played centre back last night as a part of back 3. When playing right back, he's more like a right wing back, because you'll see him constantly on the right hand side, even in the box, scored against Tottenham, scored against was it Palace? He scored against. I can't remember. He scored 2 goals already this season. He's an absolute baller, and one that we got for nothing because he's one of our own players and stuff, like a proper actual Brighton lad. So I can't fault him for that. I think obviously João Pedro said earlier, absolutely. I think for 30 million, he's a of the signings of the season, in my opinion. For like the other, apart from the top 6, for the rest of us, I think is one of the best signings this season. Obviously top scorer in Europa League, doing bits. I think Van Hecke will be our next captain when Lewis Dunk retires. I think Van Hecke will be our next Brighton captain. He's been so solid. I think we were worried about losing Colwill this season. He was solid last season, but Van Hecke's come in and has just put an absolute shift in. He's been fantastic. Our only kind of main concern, obviously, is our conceding goals. Obviously, last night was our first clean sheet of the season, which is in mental stats. And De Zerbi actually said last night, he said, and I quote, a clean sheet is your problem, not my problem. I would like to win every game 4-0, but that's impossible. We have to respect and defend our style and mentality. Sometimes we have been unlucky with the goals we conceded, and today we deserve to win after this is going to West Ham. So De Zerbi doesn't care about clean sheets. In his eyes, if we score more goals, we win the game. That's all that matters. And it's only really kind of journalists and obviously fancy football players who are, where are my clean sheet points kind of thing. But he's, again, apparently he's getting a new contract. Now that Ancelotti's staying in Madrid, I know Real Madrid were like rumoured to be going for him, but now he's staying there. So De Zerbi should get a new contract. It should be fantastic. So yeah, in kind of summary, I don't know how long I've been, but I'll wrap up now. Despite having a lot of injuries this season, I think 7th place and first in Europa League. We don't have to play Europa League now till March, so we can concentrate on. We've got Stoke at the weekend in the FA Cup, and then we're not playing until the 22nd of January against Wolves. So we've got time to play some more players and stuff, and also see how January transfer when it goes in. I know De Zerbi's wants some more players, and I hope that Tony Bloom backs him. Tony Bloom MBE, now he got MBE. Congratulations, Tony. So yeah, it's been a fantastic half of the season. Looking forward to where we'll come. I think in terms of where we'll be at the end of the season, I think 7th is pretty good. I think we won't push into the top 4. I think if we can guarantee Europe either by the league or big hat on, but winning the actual thing, win the Europa League, then that would be a fantastic season. But I think if we can get a good, if we can hit quarterfinals, semi-finals, I'd be very happy. But I think I'd take 7th and go from there. So yeah, that's my my Brighton stuff. Have I missed anything? I don't think so. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Nice one, James. Nice one, James. I've just been looking at the table, and I think you have the most draws in the Premier League with 7. The only other team behind you is Palace with 6. So it's quite a few draws, but
it's one of those where we were constantly being like, oh, Brighton have fallen off and stuff. We didn't lose many games. We just drew so many in a row. I think it was 7 games where we won 2, maybe drew a load and only lost 1 and stuff. So we weren't losing games. We were just drawing a lot of them because of, for some reason, which has been a Brighton thing for ages. We can play amazing football, play loads of passing around the back and stuff, but there's just no end product a lot of times. And that was shown against West Ham last night. I mean, to be fair, Areola was an absolute beast in goal. Nothing to vote from him. Areola was fantastic. But we just couldn't find the back of the net. And that has happened time and time again. It happened against Palace, happened against Chelsea, happened even against Man City. We could have got a draw against them, but just couldn't finish the chances against big teams like that. Where they're going to punish us. So, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Right then, so before we move on, let's say where we think Brighton will finish. So James has Brighton finishing 7th. I too have Brighton finishing 7th. I think that's a good solid finish. We'll see. If Man United and Newcastle are still struggling, Chelsea still struggling. Maybe he can stay in that. Maybe get 6th. I don't know. Depends. We just don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, I'll say 7th for Brighton and a good run in the Europa League knockout stages. Yeah. Callum, Luke?
I think I think I predicted Brighton to finish 8th at the start of the season. So where their current position is technically is about where they sort of are. I'd like to think, and obviously I'll talk about Newcastle in a moment, but I'd like to think whatever happens in the rest of the season, we could, if we obviously overtake Brighton, we'll push them down. Not that that's guaranteed to happen, but I'll stick with my original prediction of 8 because I still think that's only 1 point down. Like we said, Liverpool, Aston Villa, they're all back. Chelsea could improve, we could improve again. So it probably will be a competitive last end to the season. So I'll stick with my original 8th prediction. I still feel like that's a decent finish for Brighton.
Luke?
I think it's most of the positions are hard to predict this year, but well, there's like different sections. So you've got your top 4 and then 4th to 10th and then 10th to 15th and then 15th to 20th. Like anyone in that 5th to 10th bracket could finish anywhere, but I think I'll agree with you two, and I'll say 7th just because they're there now, and hopefully when they get the players back, they'll go back to where they were last season. Another thing I was going to say was I was really impressed with how they played at the Emirates. I know we had the majority of the ball a lot of the time, but they weren't scared. Basically, when they were having the goal kicks, we had players in every single area against the box, but they still managed to keep getting out. It was just really impressive that even when they were going away to one of the bigger teams in the league, they don't change the style of play. That's something that you've got to respect.
Yeah, and it's coming at cost sometimes this season. Against Bournemouth, it resulted in their goal, and like it's a high risk, high reward, similar to Tottenham and stuff. But we trust the players, trust each other that they'll be in those positions, they can ping it about and stuff, and they'll find that pass. And again, people like Gross are in the hole can just like find a little bit of space, find the pass, and bang we're off and stuff. So,
Yeah, I was really impressed.
You gave us a very hard-fought game at the Amex as well. What was it, 2-2? I think it was, yeah.
2-2,
so,
yeah.
It was a very, very tough, hard-fought game. All right, then. So we'll see where Brighton are come at the end of the season. So nice one, James. Right, then. Let's continue with Newcastle. Oh, dear. And I think Callum's got quite a bit to say. Keep it short. So, yes, Newcastle are 9th on 29 points. Not in a good run of form, are you, Callum? So go away. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go away.
Go away. All right then. Bye, guys. I'll leave mine because I don't really work. So
go ahead.
Let's just say it's been a bit of a weird season, very strange. From about August to November, excellent. From then onwards, I don't really know what to say, to be honest. The season started with us, really having our Champions League draw and getting the group of death with Borussia Dortmund, AC Milan, and PSG. And obviously, not very many people would. Well, it was a competitive group. Not many people might have said, "Oh yeah, Newcastle are guaranteed to make it through." I'll come back to that in a moment, but. We started the season really well. We had some tough fixtures in the Carabao Cup. We had to get through. So we beat Man City and we beat Man United in the Carabao Cup to progress to the quarterfinal, where we lost to Chelsea because they equalised pretty much in the last few seconds of the game, and then we lost on penalties. So that was obviously rough. The Champions League, we had a historic 4-1 win against PSG at St James's Park. That was probably the best game that I've ever seen as a fan of Newcastle. Watching that game was probably one of the highlights of my life, actually, strangely enough. But it was just excellent. And then to go to the Stade de France as well, be 1-0 up and be robbed, but anyway, just that, losing those 2 points in that game away at PSG in the Champions League was just so disheartening. And then even then, we were 45 minutes away from progressing to the Champions League last 6, knockout stages, when we were beating AC Milan 1-0. And then those last 45 minutes, it was Dortmund scoring, PSG scoring, AC Milan scoring, and then us going down to the Europa League, and then AC Milan winning the game, and then us being out of Europe completely. So there's been some really tough things to swallow this season. and very, very unlucky at times. Even in the league, we beat Chelsea in the league, we beat Arsenal in the league. I mean, that was quite controversial, but still, I'm sure Luke has his thoughts on that. We should arguably have beaten Liverpool at St James's Park, but for some reason against 10 men, we absolutely capitulated and ended up losing the game. And we've also got the biggest win of the season in the Premier League as well, because we beat Sheffield United 8-0 at Bramall Lane. I know it's Sheffield United, but away from being at Bramall Lane at home to ship 8 past them, and it could have been more as well. We're going to have a great season. But then, like I said, out of the Carabao Cup in the quarterfinals to a last-minute goal, out of the Champions League. But what I will say is that we gave a good showing of ourselves in the Champions League. We drew with AC Milan at St James's Park. We drew with AC Milan at the San Siro. We beat PSG. We drew with PSG. We lost to Dortmund at St James's Park, but arguably should have been a draw again. We got unlucky with some woodworks on there. And that's it. We're out of a lot of the competitions that we were competing in. We have been competing towards not the top of the Premier League table up until November, but our average position was probably about 5th or 6th for the majority of the season until we started going on our bad run of form. And I don't know if that coincided with some demoralising results with the Champions League and the Carabao Cup, and the confidence is low. But James was talking about injuries. Not talk about injuries and not talk about Newcastle. We've had at least 10 absentees the majority of the season. I was talking because I watched our prediction video a little bit earlier, and I was talking about the squad depth that I felt we had. Where's the squad depth when you've got pretty much a starting XI out through injury? Currently, we still have 10 people out. Now, Tonali, obviously, he's an injury. We couldn't foresee that, he would be pulled up on his gambling addiction and whatever and stuff. But, people like Nick Pope's out now till April. And we've got to have, and Dubravka had a good game against Liverpool. But again, apart from shipping 4, but, still, he's our keeper. And then Karius is backup. Trippier is currently injured. Wilson's out again until the end of January. Barnes has played about 1 game and then was injured. Willock's been out the majority of the season. Burns been out pretty much. Every single one of our players, I think, has been injured at least once this season. And I don't know where the problem lies there. I'm not sure why, and I'm not sure if there's a solution to that. But we were playing with the same 11 players a lot. During key fixtures, congested fixtures that we, not being able to rotate. Trippier, who's Mr. Reliable, has made so many strange, uncharacteristic mistakes in the last few weeks. Against Chelsea, it was his mistake that led Mudryk in to equalise. He made 2 mistakes against Everton, and we lost 3-0 against them. It's it's strange, and I can't really explain, where the problems now lie. It could just be the fatigue, could be the injuries we still have, but that is kind of just the way things are. I was talking about some of the good wins that we've had, but even in the last 2 weeks, we've lost to Luton, we've lost to Nottingham Forest at home with Chris Wood, yes, the former Newcastle player Chris Wood, scoring a hat-trick against us as well. And then we lost to Bournemouth as well. That was quite a while ago now, before the last international break. But, it's just not, a few performances here and there. They've not been good enough recently. I think we've lost 7 out of our last 8 games in all competitions. And that's just something that's so uncharacteristic of the Eddie Howe side that we've had over the last sort of 18 months, 2 years. So it's a little bit concerning. In terms of goals, though, Isak's got 9 goals in the Premier League for the season, and even he was injured for 3 or 4 games, in that, and so he's got, I think, probably 5th or 6th for goals. Wilson's still got 7, and again, he's been out a lot. Anthony Gordon has probably been our most consistent player this season. He's actually got 6 goals and 5 assists in the Premier League. I'm not sure you're actually going to find a winger who's got as many as 11 goal contributions. I know there are probably some, but Gordon's definitely up there as, one of the standout performers for us. The last few games he's been a bit fatigued, but it's because he's been carrying a lot of weight on his shoulders. He's played striker, he's played left, he's played right. And he's really come good since his signing from last year. Another shout out, Tino Livramento as well. Dan Burn was out injured for a bit, and Tino came in to play left back. Not really sure why Eddie Howe decided to put Burn back in because Tino was playing so well. That was a bit weird. Lewis Miley, he's 17 years old, and he came in, got an assist against PSG. I think he scored against Fulham a few weeks ago, and he's 17. He's been thrown into the midfield while Willock and Longstaff, they've all been out and unable to play. Tonali obviously been suspended, and he's done a job. He looks like he's going to be a really, really good player. Again, at the start of the season, we were one of the, like James was saying, one of the top teams on expected goals, on goals, shots converted, goals scored. Until our bad run of form, we were like, it was the goal difference, us, City, Brighton, those that were consistently scoring 4 or so goals a game. But yeah, the one thing that really has been concerning is our away form. We've only got 5 points from away games this season, and 3 of those points were against Sheffield United when we smashed them 8-0. So away form is a real problem. Injuries have really messed us up. I would like to think without the injury problems, we would hopefully have been in a much better position than we are currently in 9th. But even then, like I said, some of them are still going to be long term. Pope is going to be out for a while still. Target, I think, is out till February, March time. Who knows what's happening with Willock, because he's played about 2 games all season and keeps getting injured. Wilson is about as reliable as a wet towel. It's for injuries, not for goals. But yeah, it's just a bit of a tough position to be in. Transfer window is obviously open now, but financial fair play, that's always something that that is a problem. Calvin Phillips on loan from Man City is one that I've been hearing is the likeliest of moves for us, but there aren't really very many names that we're linked to at the moment. I do think we probably need a striker if Wilson's going to get injured repeatedly, as we know he does. Isak as well has his injury issues. There's not a lot that can be done about the problems that we have with injuries. I just don't know if there's something more built in with the confidence our team's sussing out Eddie Howe's tactics and things like that as well. Is that becoming a problem? People are still starting to kind of not call for him to be sacked, because I don't think any Newcastle fan in their right mind is going to do that. Me certainly not, but we don't know how the owners are how long they're gonna allow it to carry on with the form that we're in. It does need to change quickly. We are playing Sunderland on Saturday in the first time we derby for about 6 or 7 years in the FA Cup, and I think if we lose that game, it might be the last straw. But with the form that we're on, I would not be surprised if we end up losing that game.
Is it at Stadium of Light, or
it's at the Stadium of Light? I think, yeah. So that's going to be very interesting. But yeah, what I will say is we're still miles ahead of schedule on where we should or were going to be. So I'm not too upset. I'm not too downbeat about it. I know we had a good start to the season. Injuries have been a problem. It's just kind of seeing what we can do to try and bring ourselves back up. Hopefully, get some people back to, sort of improve slightly. But yeah, that's about it.
Okay, I think before we move to Luke, I think there definitely was a sense that Newcastle, definitely overachieved last season, getting top 4 that quickly. So now you're in a very bad patch. Obviously, like you said, with tons of injuries which haven't helped, and like you've said, Newcastle looked burnt out in a lot of games. Like Gary Neville said at the game on Monday, half the team just looked run ragged. Maybe the Champions League hasn't helped because your squad isn't used to Champions League, then Premier League, Champions League. So maybe that's had a big effect. But hopefully you can come out of this bad spell soon. But with all these injuries, I don't know. You've got Man City next, haven't you? Next weekend.
Yeah, we I think our next 2 Premier League games are Man City and Villa, so I'm not sure about how well that's going to go. But
okay, all right. Well, before let's say where we think Newcastle will finish right now, based on your current form with the injuries. I don't see Newcastle getting in that top 4. Right, if this form continues, definitely not. So right now, I'm going to say 8th for Newcastle. Which is a bit far below. I had just finishing 4th in our season predictions, but obviously not. That was before all the injuries and everything. So yeah, right now 8th for Newcastle. James, Luke.
Yeah, I think it's been a bit of a tough patch for Newcastle. I think you guys started really well, and then I think that with now being out of Europe might be more a blessing than a curse, really. I think they're going to focus on the league, get some players back from injury and stuff. I don't think you should sack Eddie Howe. I think that would be a massive mistake. I think there isn't really a manager that's available right now who would do a job that's similar or better. Really, I think they should back him and be like this. You take the positives. You beat PSG. You play some really good football and stuff. I think you'll come 8th as well. I think. I hope you guys get Europe as well. I hope you guys will get that. But again, like Luke said, it's hard to predict the 5th to 10th. But I think 8th is the thing. Also, while I'm back in Newcastle, Jota is a diving piece of work.
I cannot believe that. Every time I watch it, I just see it even more. Just score the goal. Why fall over? Oh,
Adam, you can't back Jota there. You can't back him there. Surely you can't say it's not dive.
I've watched it with my dad.
My Jesus!
I watched it with my dad. Yeah, and there was an elbow, but
Jota, didn't touch him. It did not touch him. Not in the slightest.
Let me finish. And then Jota kept running and then dived. Yeah, even I will admit he dived. But even if that penalty hadn't been given, we still would have won the game 3-2.
Yeah. But yeah.
He should have just scored the goal. He should have just tapped it in.
I'm happy because I had Salah as my captain for FPL, so I'm glad I got the points. But anyway, 8th place for Newcastle. Sorry.
And most strikers would probably do the same. So don't have a go at Jota. So yeah, most strikers would do the same. I bet 100 quid on it. Right.
Anyway, I think Newcastle are still going to finish 6th.
6th.
Cool.
Yeah, I just think once we get some players back and we get an international break, we'll improve.
Fair enough. Have you said go on, Luke? Newcastle.
Yeah, I'm going to say 6th as well. I think, like James is saying, they're out of pretty much everything except the FA Cup, which they could be out of this weekend. And I think, I'll say like Tottenham, but they've lost a lot of players for injury as well. Being out of competition, being out of Europe, I think that'll help them massively in trying to get the form back in the league. So, yeah, I think it's hard to predict, but I'll say 6.
Okay, thank you, Callum. Then let's continue then with Arsenal. So, Luke, I'm sure you have quite a bit to say. It's not gone very well for Arsenal the last few games. So you're currently 4th on 40 points, which is a decent points tally. But your last 5 games, only 1 win, and probably worse than that. So anyway, take it away, Luke.
Yeah, you're right. 1 win in the last 5 Premier League, 1 win in the last 6 in all competitions. Football changes quickly. Like we've done this video on the 23rd after we had our match at Anfield. Then I would have been a lot happier because we were top of the league at Christmas again. 2 games later, we're in a top 4 race. Strange, but it happens. Our style of play has just changed very drastically, I think, since last season. Last season, we were scoring goals for fun, but we're very wide open defensively. This season, we've been quite solid defensively, but not scoring anywhere near enough. I think the West Ham game supposed to be Boxing Day on the 28th it summed it up really. We had 77 touches in their box, 2.77 XG, and couldn't find the back of the net. And that just summed up the season, really. Again, touching back on the Brighton game that I mentioned before, we were speaking about James's Brighton. We absolutely dominated the pitch, but as soon as they got one goal back, I thought, did you get one goal back? I can't remember now.
No, we didn't score any, no.
It was when Gross almost equalised. I think that was it, when the ball got cut back. I think we'd had several chances to make it 3-4, 5-0, but we can't kill games off anymore. I don't know what it is. I've got an idea, but I don't think it should be an excuse. One of those ideas could be losing our midfield from last season, which was Thomas Partey, Granit Xhaka and Martin Ødegaard, because Xhaka was one of our top goal scorers last season. And we've tried many experiments to replace him. We've had Havertz in there, Fabio Vieira, Smith-Rowe had the odd appearance there, and none of it seems to work. You can't decide who to play there, really. And we just haven't seen Thomas Partey at all due to just constantly being injured. He started the season off, but for some reason he was playing as an inverted right back. We were playing Timber at left back, so that was strange. He hasn't been to the African Cup of Nations, so he should be back soon, playing for us, hopefully. And I think we might try Declan Rice in that 8 position, see if that changed anything. Declan Rice been one of the signings of the season, despite being 105 million. I think he's been one of the shining lights of the team, defensively and offensively. I think against Man City was one of his best games, where he just seemed to steal the ball off the likes of Foden and Bernardo Silva and sprint forward and put us on the counter attack. And he was a large reason why we won that game. And I think if we had you back in this title challenge, then he'll be another big reason why we do. Going back to our lack of goals, I've got some stats here. I've got Saka's our top goal scorer on 6 goals in the league. He's got 6 assists as well. But then second place with Odegaard and Havertz on 4 goals each, with 4 assists between them. Martinelli, who was our top goal scorer last season, I think he finished on 16 goals, only has 2 goals this season, despite playing nearly every single game. And our number 9, which is probably the biggest issue, Gabriel Jesus, 3 goals, 1 assist. And if we want someone to come in for him, it's Eddie Nketiah, who I don't think is capable of being a replacement for a title challenging team. Last season, Saka, Martinelli, Jesus and Odegaard all had over 10 goals. All Saka, Martinelli and Odegaard had over 15 goals, but I don't think we're going to reach their numbers this season. So I think if we are to get back in this title challenge, we need to sign a striker, because we can't finish for life. Even against Fulham, we went 1-0 up, had countless chances to make it 2-0. Fulham come back in the game 1-1, and then end up going on to win it. And we just look completely void of confidence in these last 2 games after the Liverpool result. I guess we'll see what happens. That's all I'm going to say, really, I think.
All right. It's tricky where to predict. I'm going to finish where Arsenal finish, because Tottenham are only a point behind us. West Ham are kind of pushing up there at the minute. So it's right now, I'm going to say Arsenal finish 3rd. I think you'll get a good run of form back together. You're in a bad patch, but you have 12 wins this season, which is very good. You're on 40 points. These are only 5 points behind us. There's still 18 games left to go. It's a long way. So yeah, I'm going to say Arsenal get third. Luke, James? Callum, James?
It's weird because I didn't realise that the scoring stats were quite that bad. I mean, like I said before, Isak and Wilson are on 9 and 7, and Arsenal's top goal scorer is Saka on 6. But I think the main thing does lie in the striker. I think I was hearing things about Ivan Toney moving possibly to you. Well, I mean, there wasn't anything concrete, but in January to Arsenal, that would obviously solve some number 9 problems. But yeah, no, that's I suppose the goal scoring is a little bit concerning actually. But yeah, I'll probably. It depends whether Aston Villa can maintain their form and kind of stay above Arsenal, and whether or not Tottenham and Manchester United and maybe even Newcastle can have a strong finish to the season, because there is 11 points between Newcastle and Arsenal. That is something that can change fairly quickly. But yeah, I'm not sure if Villa can maintain it, so I'm going to go Arsenal third as well, I think.
Yeah, I pretty agree with you guys. I'd probably say third. I think Villa are great. Villa are great, but I think, like you said, they will drop. How far the drop will be another question for later. But I think you won't last Champions League much longer. I think you might get to the quarterfinals, but I think that might be a bit too far for Arsenal. I think, especially in the form you guys are in. It depends. Will you beat Liverpool in the FA Cup at the weekend? That's we'll have to wait and see for that. But I think third will be good. It won't be like a great season for you, obviously being top at one point, but yeah, third I'd say.
Okay then, so yeah, we will see what Arsenal finish come May, but I think we're all pretty confident it definitely will be top 4 for Arsenal, despite this bad run of form you're on. Okay then, on to Liverpool.
And once again, he glows.
Come on, don't blow, Adam. Make it brief, please.
10.
Right then. So, yes, as of right now, after 20 games, Liverpool are top of the Premier League. 45 points. Yes, so we have 13 wins, 6 draws, and only 1 defeat, which this just shouldn't have even counted, but I'll get to that. Yes, it's been great. Last season, at our mid-season review, we were 9th. And I was like, oh, this is a crap season. What's going on, man? Last season was just terrible, but I had very much thought it was a transitional season. Just had a bit of a bad patch. And with this midfield rebuild that we've had, with fresh tactics and a fresh enthusiasm, you can see the difference it's made. And as Klopp said before the season started, this is Liverpool reloaded. And I think it pretty much is when you look at that table. So yes, what can I say? The new midfield, brand new rebuilt midfield with Szoboszlai, McAllister, Wataru, Endo's come in. He's been great. Gravenbach, he's been coming in, and I think he's got a lot of pace. He's been coming in and playing a lot of games too. Szoboszlai, he started off like a house on fire, really, really quick. He's dropped off a little bit the last few games. Maybe the pace has got to him of the Premier League, but he's still a top player. We can see that. What a signing he's been. McAllister, he's been a bit hit and miss so far. I think maybe that's because he's been playing a more defensive midfielder position, and I don't think that suits him. And James can attest to this, I'm sure, because I think we were expecting something a bit more from McAllister. He had a lot of games, he kind of just disappears. But like I said, if he's not playing in his natural position, hopefully he can. Now he's back from injury. Hopefully he can move further up the pitch. Don't know if you ever have any thoughts on that, James?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he had Caicedo to back him up as a kind of central defensive mid for Brighton, so he was able to push more forward. So now he's having to do defensive work. He can do it. Don't get me wrong, he can do it, but it's just he hasn't backed him up last time. So
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. I've still got full. And we all know what an amazing player he is. So, Wataru Endo has been great. He had a bit of a slow start, but the last few games he's looked really, really good. I think bringing in a lot of experience. And Gravenbach, like I said, he's more of been on the bench, but the games he has played, he's shown a lot of pace. What else can I say? Only 1 loss this season, which is I think really, really very good, and that defeat at Tottenham shouldn't have even stood. We were absolutely robbed. We got denied a clear Luis Diaz goal. It was in the news and everything. The awful VAR commentary that at the very least should have been a defeat. I'm sorry, at the very least should have been a draw. I've got tons of notes here, but I'm trying to condense it down. Salah has been terrific. 14 goals and 8 assists. Foolishly, I thought maybe he'd start to drop off now because he's in his 30s. He's showing no sign of that club legend. He's already 150 Premier League goals now for Liverpool. What a player. And I think we're going to miss him. He's off to the Africa Cup of Nations for a month. Oh boy, he's going to miss about 7 games. So hopefully, Nunez, Diaz, Gakpo, and Jota can do the biz and keep the goals coming in. Darwin Nunez, oh my boy, we know there's a good player there, but watching him play football is so effing frustrating sometimes.
He's got a phobia. He's got a phobia of scoring goals.
I mean, he's not doing terrible. He's got 5 goals and 6 assists. 6 assists is decent. He got a good assist in the Newcastle game on Monday, and he's top of the league in big chances missed. 18 big chances missed. But he's like, not great. 18 big chances missed. If he could,
are you telling me that Nunez should be on 24 goals this season already?
This is what I mean. If Nunez converts those big chances, he'd have more goals than effing Haaland and Salah. But it's just, hopefully he can start converting. We're going to need him to start converting with Salah gone now. Diaz, Gakpo, and Jota, they need to get a few more goals too. Diaz only has 3, Gakpo has 3, and Jota has 5. So some games we're absolutely dominating in terms of shots, but if we just read about, I think we've had 2 Premier League records this season. The Newcastle game and the Man United game, both at Anfield, we had 60 plus shots. I think that's a Premier League record this season. And obviously, in the Man United game, it was a 0-0. So we're absolutely bombarding the goal, which is obviously great to see. A lot of other players, like squad players, have come in this season because Robertson's been out with an injury. So Tsimikas and Gomez have stepped up to the plate, looking really good. Matip is out now for the rest of the season. But Kanate and Kwanzaa, who have been really, really good. Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones have stepped up in midfield. Curtis Jones has been amazing this season. I've not always been a massive Curtis Jones fan, but this season he's looked incredible. He's got some really good goals and he's really stepping up in midfield. Trent Alexander-Arnold, some of the goals he scored this season as he's been pushed into that more midfield position. I mean, he scored an absolute worldie at the Etihad a while back, and another one in front of the Kop. So he's been great. What else can I say? So yeah, despite the fact we are top of the league, 45 points, we're not playing at our best in a lot of games, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. A lot of games we're really grinding out results and just about winning. There's not been a ton of like definitive wins this season, and some would say that's a sign of a very good team. When you're not playing well, you're still top of the friggin' league. But there have been a few disappointing draws. There were 6 draws. So we had a 1-1 draw against Luton. That was a disappointing performance. 0-0 against Man United, despite the fact we had 30 plus shots in that game. 0-0. 1-1 with Arsenal. And I'm sure Luke knows Trent misses an absolute sitter and hits the bar. Yeah. Oh man. So we should have won that game.
And you should have had a penalty as well.
Yeah. So that's 6 points dropped. And I just hope come May, I don't look at that table and go, that's 6 points. Oh, God. Anyway, we'll see. What else can I say? This is going to be a very interesting title race as we head towards May. You know, Aston Villa are up there. Man City, if they win their game in hand, they're only 2 points behind us. If Arsenal can get some form together, they'll be back up there. Tottenham. So it's going to be a very interesting title race as we approach the last second half of the season. We'll see. It's going to be very interesting. I don't think City are going to run away with it this season. I think if it could be the old title races of old, us and City up there for the last second half of the season. We'll see. Anything else? It's like I said, a title race. We're in the FA Cup obviously this weekend with Arsenal. we'll see. But I think Arsenal. I've got a feeling Arsenal are going to win that one. I think like Klopp might put out a change team. We'll see. But FA Cup, we're in the League Cup semi-finals against Fulham, so I think there's a very, very strong chance we're going to get to the League Cup final. But obviously, Fulham are a very good team on their day, and I think it's not arrogance to say I think we are strong favourites for the Europa League. If we put out a strong, if we put out a strong team in the knockout stages, which I'm sure Klopp will, I think there's absolutely no reason we can't get to the Europa League final in Dublin. But and I'd be down for a Liverpool Brighton final. We'll see if that happens. So that's 4 potential trophies this season. I'm still looking way ahead of myself. We might not even get that far in the FA Cup, but it's looking good compared to where we were last season. It's looking really, really good. So yeah, I'll get to where I think Liverpool will finish in our top 4 predictions. So yeah, guys, that's all I've really got to say. It's big thumbs up from me, and I just hope now Salah's gone and Endo's obviously gone to the Asian Cup as well. We might miss Endo in midfield. Salah's gone as well. I just hope we can keep that form up there, because obviously City are going to be right behind us when they win their game in hand. So yeah, any thoughts, guys, before we move to relegation?
No, I mean, you're going to be in that title race. We'll mention when we get to top 4 where we think you're going to finish, but yeah, I don't think there's much else to say. Like you said, I think there's been a few games where, because we're always talking on the chat we have, and you're always going, oh, for God's sake, like FFS and oh come, and you're always complaining about Nunes mostly, but just saying a lot of first halves you seem to play not so great, and then you often comment, oh, we need a stronger second half, and usually that's what gets you through games. But yeah,
pretty much. Okay then, right then, on to the bottom 3. So let's excuse me, guys. Next, that Dr. Pepper. Sorry. Right. So yes, teams that we think, the 3 teams that we think will go down, and I think this won't take long. So yes, the current bottom 3: Sheffield, Burnley, and Luton. Sheffield are on 9 points. Jesus. Burnley are on 11. So here's my 3 to go down: Sheffield, Burnley, Luton. I think Luton.
Do we think
Luton might stay up, but I think Everton are right there too with their 10-point deduction, and they're not in good form. But I just don't think they're good enough. I mean, Burnley and Sheffield, probably 2 of the weakest promoted teams we've seen in a long time. They've just both been so bad. Burnley, I think we can all agree. Burnley, I thought they'd be a bit better under Vincent Kompany, considering how they bossed the Championship. But it just goes to show how high the gap is from the Championship to the Premier League. But anyway, sorry, go on, guys.
Yeah, I mean, we all did say that we thought Burnley would possibly be a surprise package and finish almost like 10th place with Kompany. Getting 100+ points in the Championship historically has meant teams have come up and played, not done pretty too badly. But I don't think they won a home game all season until they beat Sheffield United a few weeks ago. So, that's been pretty poor from them. But yeah, I was going to say, do we think Sheffield United are going to get less points than Derby's lowest scoring season?
No.
No.
What?
But yeah, no, same for me. I'm going, because Everton haven't played badly. They've been a bit unlucky with their 10-point deduction, while Man City are still running around like kings. But yeah, I think Everton have been playing pretty well, mostly, to be fair. They're, if they didn't get that 10-point deduction, they're only 3 points behind Newcastle. So, you know what I mean? Nottingham Forest are grinding out results. Bournemouth are doing pretty well recently. And there isn't really anybody else that I feel could be pulled down into the group of Luton, Burnley, and Sheffield United. Luton have been grinding some results. Luton did beat Newcastle. They got that draw against Liverpool. So they're getting some points against some of the bigger teams. But I don't think it's going to be enough. So I think the bottom 3 are going to stay the bottom 3.
Okay. James, Luke?
I agree with Sheffield United and Burnley. I think they're both going to go down. I think there's talks of Sheffield getting Burrows and Diaz from Villarreal, but even then, that's not going to save them. I think I might give them a few goals, but
for me, no.
I think again, I think it's too little, too late. Unfortunately for Sheffield United. However, I think Luton are going to stay up. I think they're going to have a. They've played some great games. The draw against Liverpool, they almost beat Man City. They play some great football. To be fair, for a team that basically has got nothing to lose, I think they'll basically use the second half of the season to just we'll give it a go, see what happens, and go from there. So I think that, like you said, Forest potentially. I'm going to say this might sound really biased, but I'm going to say Crystal Palace. I think recently they've on a really rotten set of form.
Didn't you draw with them the other week?
We drew with them. They won. I think they've won in their last 10 games.
They beat Brentford 3-1 the last game.
Yeah, but then if you look at the last 10 games, no wins. So it'd be tough. I think that might be a bit more biased, but I'm going to say
that's just bias from you now. Come on.
I'm going to call it Sheffield United, Burnley, Palace. There we go. Palace going down. I will celebrate when I do.
If Luton do survive and Everton go down, oh yes.
Everton will stay out. I think Everton's getting mid-table.
They've lost the last 3 games. They're not in good form, but we'll see. Okay,
we've lost the last 7 of 8. So
yeah, sorry. Sheffield United, Burnley, Newcastle. Newcastle going down.
Yeah, well, look, we are in relegation form.
All right, Luke.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be the 3 that are down there now. I do think Luton do play some good stuff, but I just don't think they're going to have enough when it comes to the running. Like James said, they almost got a result against Man City. They got a result against Liverpool, and they almost got a result against us. So when it comes to the bigger teams, they're putting in some decent performances. But when it comes to teams that they need to beat to stay up, like the teams around them, that's when they struggle. And they're the results that they need, not the results against the big teams. So, yeah. Sheffield United bottom, Burnley 19th, Luton 18th.
Okie dokie. We'll see what that bottom 3 looks like come May. Okie dokie then. Let's finish off then with the top 4. And I guess we can do 5th to 8th or European places if you want. Like Conference Europa League. Okay. So the current top 4, Liverpool, Villa, City and Arsenal. Obviously, Tottenham are definitely up there as well, only a point behind. Here's my top 4 then. So 4th, I'm going with Aston Villa. I think they're going to do what Newcastle did last season. I think they've been. We can all agree. Who thought Aston Villa would be up at the top 4 this season? I think Emery's done such a good job. They're just playing amazing football, aren't they? Week after week. So yeah, Aston Villa 4th, Arsenal 3rd, top 2.
Come on, Adam, you do this every year. You all know what you're going to say.
I don't do it every year. Did I do it last year?
I'm fairly certain you did.
not on mid-season. I didn't. So Man City 2nd, Liverpool 1st. Boom. F it. I'm going. Oh, I think. So yeah. Okay, you guys, top 4. Go on.
I think you'll be. Go on, Callum. You go.
Oh, go on then. I'll just say that I completely agree with your list, Adam. I'm going to go for Villa 4th, Arsenal 3rd, City 2nd, Liverpool 1st. I do think City are going to have a resurgence, but I said at the start of the season that it was going to be a lot closer than with points than previously, and I think City are faltering a little bit, and I think if Liverpool even managed to, even get some better form, if we're talking about, starting games better even, then you should be able to stay in first position, especially, you've got the advantage being ahead as it is in points, technically. So, it's kind of yours to lose in a way. But, yeah, I'm going to go with Liverpool first, and then City below. And then Arsenal and Villa. I think Villa are going to do us like we did last season, because Emery, like you said, is doing a great job.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tight one. I think I agree with the top 3. I'd say Arsenal 3rd, City 2nd, Liverpool 1st. I think Liverpool are in a really good run of form at the moment. I think we can continue with that. Obviously, see how much you miss Salah. 4th place, it's tight. I'm gonna say Tottenham. I think Villa will come 5th. I think it'll be tight between Villa Tottenham and Man United. I think. I think and Postecoglou. I think is going to be get a second half game when Maddison's back. He's going to get back and firing and stuff. So I can see Tottenham doing good. So I'm going to say Tottenham 4th, Arsenal 3rd, City 2nd, Liverpool 1st.
Okay, Luke.
I actually have Spurs 4th as well, which I don't like saying, but I don't. It just depends how they play without Son for this next month. Like same as Liverpool without Salah. And I think the timing is just you couldn't write it. Like Liverpool losing Salah at the exact same time. Man City are getting Kevin De Bruyne and Haaland back. So,
I didn't think about that. It's a good point.
Uh-oh.
I think they're just going to do what they're doing. They have a slow start to the season and they just win 14, 15 games in a row. And it's not fair, but it happens. So I've got Spurs 4th, Arsenal 3rd, Liverpool 2nd, and City 1st.
If City win the league, would that never have been done before? Is it 4 Premier Leagues in a row?
Yeah, never been done before.
Come on. We've got to stop City. It's up to us.
Just to say, I'm fairly certain over the many years that me, Adam, and James have done these these videos before Luke came here. The three of us have never said that Liverpool are going to win the league. There's always been one of the three of us that have gone City.
No. It was the 1920 season. You all picked Liverpool because we were like we were so far ahead in that season. So yeah. Anyway,
right.
But anyway, that's just one season. So yeah, okay. All right then. Well, thank you guys. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. Yes, we will see what the next 18 games bring for all 4 of our teams and what the Premier League table looks like come the end of the season. So yes, I'll be back with Luke, Callum, and James probably sometime in May. I don't know when exactly the season finishes. It's usually May, isn't it? Yeah. So the 4 of us will be back in May with our season review, and we'll see how the 4 of our teams will do. So thank you all for watching, guys. Thank you for joining me, lads. It's been a pleasure as always, and we'll see you all in May for our season review. Bye, guys.
Cheers.
But